From all appearances, calculated afterwards, only one of the ship's 11 watertight compartments was open to the sea. Yet the Andrea Doria shuddered under the tremendous blow of the collision and suddenly, within a minute, leaned sickeningly over on her right side. Captain Kalamai staggered hurriedly to the edge of the bridge wing in time to see the Stockholm disappear beyond the stern of his ship. He had felt one or two, perhaps three distinctive bumps as the white ship had slid along the side of his ship. He leaned over the bridge railing to inspect the damage, but all he could make out in the night fog was the huge black hole darker than the black hull of his beautiful ship. It began slightly aft and 4 decks below the bridge wing and extended down and beneath the sea. Furniture, luggage, and all sorts of unidentifiable objects poured out of the gaping hole and floated aft as the ship zigzagged out of control. Realizing that the Doria was still at full speed ahead, Captain Kalamai rushed to the engine telegraph inside the wheelhouse. He saw Francini transfixed at the wheelhouse entrance and shouted, "The watertight doors! See that they're closed!" The captain ran to the engine telegraph and jerked both handle controls to full stop. He stood there trembling. A nightmare had come to pass. Francini ran across the dark wheelhouse, and as he passed Giannini, he shouted to the younger officer to check the time. The fancy wood panel of levers, which electrically controlled the 12 watertight doors of the ship, was located on the rear wall near the left side of the room. Reaching there, Francini saw that each of the 12 small levers was in the closed position. The 12 red button lights glowed red, indicating the watertight doors were closed. Giannini grabbed a flashlight from the ledge beneath the center window and played the beam upon the bridge clock. It showed 11:10 p.m. Within that first minute or two after the collision, the men suddenly realized that the Doria had not righted herself from the starboard list. The tilt of the deck was severe, and it was difficult to maintain one's balance. "What's the list?" cried out the captain, and Giannini turned his flashlight on the trim indicator on the forward wall of the wheelhouse. The indicator needle fluttered at 18 degrees. This seemed incredible to the young officer, for he knew that the modern Doria, built to the standards of the International Conference for Safety of Life at Sea of 1948, was not supposed to list more than 7 degrees initially and 15 degrees at the very worst. But he reported the trim indicator reading to the captain. No sooner did he call out the 18-degree list than the needle crept to 19 degrees and 20 degrees. To Captain Kalamai, the report of the severe list came like a second stroke to a man who had just suffered his first unexpected heart attack. It meant that his ship was sinking immediately after the collision. He rushed to the telephone for a report from the engine room below. The engine room consisted of 3 cavernous chambers in the center section of the 697-foot ship. The first room forward was the generator room, 47 feet long and 75 feet wide, containing 5 huge diesel generators lined side by side across the breadth of the room, which provided for the main electrical needs of the ship. Behind that was the boiler room, containing 2 boilers to supply hot water for passenger services and 4 huge boilers to supply high-compression steam to drive the ship's turbine motors. The third chamber was the main engine room, containing the twin turbine engines and most of the controls for the ship's pumps and machinery. 22 officers and men were on watch in the 3 rooms at the time of the collision because of the fog precautions taken on the Doria. The impact of the collision ruptured the starboard turbine motors, which began to spurt oil. First Assistant Engineer Giuseppe Mondini, in charge of the engine room watch, shut down the starboard engine even before Captain Kalamai's order came down on the engine telegraph. When the telegraph signaled full stop, he switched off the port engine.